Welcome to the channel and to this 2000 point Maelstrom of War battle report. It's Greyknights versus Skitarii. The Chaos God Tzeentch has been playing with the strands of fate, the strands of time again, and has arranged it so that two Imperial forces, Greyknights and the Skitarii of the Penitent Forge, are going to clash on this forest moon. Normally the Adeptus Mechanicus of the Penitent Forge would do anything to avoid confrontation with the Greyknights, but the Greyknights have turned up, the Imperial Tarot has been twisted, and they have lured the Skitarii into this place, and they intend to smash them. So both forces are going to be lining up, trying to beat the snot out of each other. And hopefully the Skitarii, my Skitarii, will be able to withdraw and make orbit and evac before they get decimated by this Terminator full Greyknight force. The Skitarii are going to be deployed on this edge. It's Dawn of War deployment, and it's not night fighting in turn one. I run the one that roll off the table edges. I've got two objectives down here. It's interesting that there's another objective in these high canyons tucked in that corner. That's going to be a corridor of death for anyone who goes down there. One right in the center of the board and two more over here. We're playing Tactical Escalation. That's the game where you get one card in turn one, then two, then three. So you've got to have enough of your army left alive by the time it gets to turn 4 and 5. So we're very much looking forward to playing this game. Some very nice high line of sight blocking terrain down this side of the table, and then the plateau smooths down, flattens out over here, and there is still some significant line of sight blocking terrain down the middle here as well. Anyway, let's go and have a look at these armies. This is my list. 2,000 points of Skitarii. It's a Skitarii maniple, no formations there, and an Imperial Knight detachment there as an ally. And this is my Warlord. He's the alpha for this group of Skitarii Peltasts. Skitarii Peltasts, they're not in the Skitarii book. They're a Forge World upgrade. And for those of you wondering what they are, they've got the same stats as Vanguard and as Rangers, but they're a little bit more resilient. If a unit of them, they've got something called a Cryptus Field Generator. If there's more than 5 of them in a unit, they get to reroll their armor saves of 1. And if there's 10 or more in the unit, then the strength of any weaponry coming in against them is -1. So they're a little bit more resilient, and as you can see, you can go up to a unit of 20, whereas in Skitarii, Vanguard and Rangers you can only get 10. That's one of the things they do. The other thing they do, they have a one-use blind barrage thing, so they can grant shrouded to a friendly unit within 18 inches once in the game. And they are the stern guard of the Skitarii world. These guys have 3 different types of shot that their galvanic casters can shoot out. One of them is a kinetic hammer shot. It's a strength 4 AP3 rending shot, single shot. But strength 4 AP3 rending is quite nice, particularly at 30-inch range. They've also got a strength 3 AP5 ignores cover round, which won't come into effect here. That's very good for anti-horde. And they've also got a salvo 2-4 shred round, which is strength 3. But because they have relentless, they'll always be firing the 4-shot salvo. So strength 3 salvo 2-4 shredding shot, but because they're relentless, that's 4 shots each at strength 3 with shred. So this unit's 15. At 24-inch range, it will chuck out 60 strength 3 shredding shots. Now that's very, very anti-horde, but they're all disgusting. It is disgusting. It's very good anti-horde. It'll be very, very good against any unit they chuck it down against, except for an army full of Terminators like yours. So that's what they do. The Warlord is in this unit, and it grants the unit preferred enemy as well. So I'm going to be rerolling the hit rolls of 1 and wounds of 1. Skitarii Warlords die very, very quickly. He's got Refractor Field as well, die very, very quickly. So you just need to stick him in a unit where the preferred enemy rule comes into greatest effect, and they're an elite's choice from the Skitarii list. In the troops choice, I've got 2 units of 10 Vanguard. There's a Plasma Caliver in each. Further elites, a unit of Ruststalkers, unit of Infiltrators. I've got 2 Dune Crawlers with the Icarus Array, 2 Dune Crawlers with the Neutron Lasers, and 2 units of Iron Striders there, 1 on his own and a unit of 2. 2 units of Dragoons, one of a unit of 2, one in a unit of 1. These guys are very, very good anti-vehicle killers, and Mike hasn't brought any vehicles. And then the Imperial Knight Warden, who is stock, has got no upgrades whatsoever. So this army does not have objective secured. There's no Gravinet anywhere, and it tends to be a little bit quicker than you expect it to be, because these guys have Crusader. These the guys with the Dune Strider rule can run, charge or move an extra 3 inches. So it can be a little bit sneaky. It's going to have a lot of volume of fire, but the Greyknights are going to get armor saves against most of the volume of fire coming in. Should be a very interesting matchup. Right, this is 2,000 points worth of Greyknights. Mike's filled them as a combined arms detachment today, because that way he gets lots of objectives secured and I don't. Leading the charge is a level 3 Librarian, and then we've got 3 units of Greyknight Terminators, and in every single unit there's a couple of halberds, a couple of hammers and a couple of side cannons. 30 units of Greyknight goodness there. Gonna be nasty. Dreadknight with a side cannon and a silencer, Dreadknight with a incinerator and a hammer, a Storm Raven, so he's got options of putting 5 units of guys in there or just bringing it on stock, and then with the points left over, 5 interceptors with an incinerator there. Another point of note is the Librarian rolled on telepathy, and he's got hallucination, terrify, psychic shriek, and yes, he got invisibility. So I could have a chunk of invisible Terminators coming at me. It's certainly going to be very interesting. Deployment is over. Skitarii deployed first and scout moves have done. I've got my 2 units of Vanguard up this end, supported by an Iron Strider and a Dragoon, and they're going to push forward through the rock canyons here. These units here have scouted forward, as did the Dragoon, as did my Ruststalkers all the way down at the end. Scout is something you can do if you have Skitarii. And then the rest staying back and staying along the line. Obviously the shooter unit staying back here. These guys, the infiltrators, chose not to infiltrate them. Choose to keep them back as a counterpunch unit. Didn't know whether Mike was going to deep strike much in my back lines or not. The Knight obviously doesn't have scout, and my Warlord squad is tucked up on this big rock crevasse here, already scoring that objective should it pop out. And looking across the battlefield, a rather cowardly deployment, I would say, Michael.
Oh, it's all strategic.
Strategic
I have a
deployment.
plan.
You have a plan. A cunning plan. There's a Dreadknight front and centre. He can take it. Big unit of 10 guys with the interceptors tucked around there, not combat squadded. And another big unit of 10 guys tucked in over here with a Librarian, not combat squadded. I think that's very interesting, because this unit here doesn't have Gate of Infinity, so its footprint for the remainder of the game is going to be up this side of the table. But there is an objective there, there is an objective there, there is an objective there. So their sphere of influence will be quite strong. And he has put them over there because I've put a lot of my squishy guys up this side of the table as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how much they'll actually be able to influence, which is why I think it's quite cowardly. Sorry, strategic. Strategic upside. So we've got 2 large units of Greyknights, not combat squadded. The Dreadknight there, and that's all we have on the table facing this Skitarii force. I have nothing in reserve, but this is what the Greyknights have in reserve. Deep striking, and they're in the Storm Raven. So we're going to see some interruption in my back lines. But for now, the Greyknights are mainly up that side of the table, but there are 4 objectives, or 5 objectives in that table half. There's only this one stuck out on this edge, on this table half. Now I'm going first, unless you steal from me. Do you think you can steal from me?
I think I can. I've chosen the black dice today to represent my heart in this battle.
Stealing is bad.
Here we go. Come on, you 6s.
You shouldn't steal from friends.
Oh, no. I get a reroll.
What? How? No, you don't.
It's 2017.
No, there's no precedence on that. No. So the Skitarii retain the initiative, the Penitent Forge. Advance. Let's go on to turn 1. The Skitarii orders in turn 1 are quite simple. No prisoners, just kill stuff. And using the new sphere, I've increased my ballistic skill by 2. The movement phase is all very simple. Push forward with the Ruststalkers, the Knight and the Vanguard and the Dragoons down here, pushing forward towards this Grey Knight line, and now I have to kill something. And because that's a unit of 10 Terminators, that's a unit of 10 Terminators, and because the range of my weaponry isn't great, the only chance I have on killing something in turn 1 is by pouring everything I have into that poor Imperial Knight there, that Dread Knight, sorry. So let's move on to the shooting phase, see if I can score first blood, and see if I can kill it. Okay, we're right at the start of the shooting phase. I'm just going to interrupt here because this Iron Strider and those 2 Iron Striders down there picked on the Dread Knight with auto cannon fire, and I've already taken 2 wounds off of him. He's only got 2 wounds left.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. So now the Imperial Knight, if Iron Striders can take 2 wounds off of him with 12 shots, rending should definitely be able to take the last 2 off. So let's roll to hit with a Knight hitting on 3s. Or maybe not. So that's 8 hits still. That's still pretty good. And this is strength 6, AP 3, rending. So I'm looking to force to wound, but 6s count as AP
Oh God.
2. So those are good. So
two 5 up straight away. It's down to 1 wound.
And there's 3 more wounds in that pool there to get me first blood and kill this Dread Knight.
Never. 2 ups. Come on, guys. Oh, he takes it.
He's still alive. He's still alive. So the 2 neutron laser shots coming in. These are strength 10, AP 1, centered over the center of the blast, and I've got a ballistic skill 6 at the moment. So that'll scatter 1 inch and will hit. And then the next one hits. So that's 2 strength 10 hits, wounds on 2s, AP 1, 2 5 up invulnerable saves, die, please.
Yeah.
The Dread Knight goes down. First blood, scoring me no prisoners as well. And that's pretty much the end of the phase. These Vanguard here could take some shots on the Terminators over there, but didn't do anything. Only the front line were in range, and wounding on 5s, didn't touch the Terminators at all. As for my Peltas back here, if I get down to line of sight level, you can see that they could only really see over there, and they were out of range to hurt those Terminators. So these guys couldn't do anything. Neither could these Vanguard here. In fact, it was the last shots of the round that managed to take on that Dread Knight. The only extra thing I did is run the Ruststalkers through on the left flank over there. So with my last rounds fired in anger, I managed to take on that Dread Knight and score a point for no prisoners and score a point for first blood.
Smoosh.
And that's it. And I presented a number of choice targets for these Terminators to come forward and try and engage. It will be a long bomb charge if he wants to charge in turn 1, but it's possible as I scouted forward. Anyway, let's go on to Grey Knights. Turn 1, sorry. The Grey Knight orders are to advance up the field and to secure objective 6. The Grey Knights advance through the canyons, through the hills, straight into the enemy fire. There's objective 6 there. The interceptors have jumped over and behind, waiting to counterpunch, holding them safe for this turn. And then in the psychic phase, the winds of the warp were not kind, and these guys failed to get invisibility. But they did terrify and psychic shriek this unit, and again, the winds of the warp were not kind, didn't roll high enough, and these Skitarii are standing firm. The Grey Knights' warp magic, ineffectual so far. So the Grey Knights are resorting to good old bolter fire, and despite the weird angles there, they're all in range, they're all in line of sight to this unit of Vanguard. We're going to film this on camera as well, because this could be very, very painful. Okay. We've got 17 shots coming in, hitting on 3s.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. And these are wounding on 3s as well.
3s.
Yeah. So that's pretty good wounding. And this is just Storm Bolters. This is before the side cannons fire. And I have a 4-up save. And a 6-up feel no pain. So 3 of them die. Now the side cannons can fire 1 there and 1 there. And again, they're all in line of sight and range.
Come on.
3s to hit. It's only 2 misses there. And
2's to wound.
2's to wound.
Oh.
Ooh.
4.
4 wounds dished out, and looking at the angle of fire from those side cannons, none of them actually get cover save. There's no rocks, there's nothing in the way to protect them. 4 more wiped out. And then he's firing the 2 cannons in at this squad here. Cannons first, because the most they can see is this 2, and then the ones down that side, the Stormbolts, can actually just about clip this guy here. If he fired everything else first and killed these guys, then the cannons wouldn't be able to see him. So picking his weapons carefully here.
Selective targeting.
Selective targeting.
Okay, side cannons first. Oh dear.
That's very bad shooting. 2's to hit, 2's to wound. 2 wounds from the side cannons. Nope, again, no line, no cover. 1 vanguard left. Only these 3 Terminators can see that 1 vanguard we got down. We made sure. So 6 Stormbolt shots coming in, hitting on 3s. Wounded on 3s. Stay alive, little buddy, stay alive. Ooh,
2 wounds.
Just 2 wounds. 2 wounds. 2 4-up saves. 1 6-up feel no pain. He's dead. You wiped him out. You wiped them out. Hurrah. With that storm of fire, that Vanguard squad has been extinguished. And that's the end of the Grey Knight turn. They score objective 6, gives them 1 point. The Penitent Forge, the Admech, have 2 points. We have traded a unit each so far, and it's still a very low scoring game. But as we go further and further into this game, more and more orders will become available. More opportunities to score will become available. All of my forces are deployed on the table, nothing in reserve, yet the Grey Knights still have some forces that they can call in. So it's still anyone's game, still anything to play for. Let's move on to the Skitarii, turn 2. The Skitarii order, secure objective 6, which is Warlord and the Terminators control, and this isn't going to happen. But survival is nothing, data is all. Basically, if I kill a unit, or if one of my unit dies, I get a point. Here we are after the movement phase. I'm not going to be able to score objective 6, but I am going to be able to get survival is nothing, data is all. Basically, this Dragoon charges into there. They should murder him, no problem. I get a point. He has to die in my turn. If for some reason they can't smash him open, 11 all round, there's a couple of hammers in there, they should be able to smash him open. But if for some reason he's locked up on 1 point left and he dies in their turn, I won't get a point. Mind you, I'll be quite pleased because they'll be stuck over there in that corner, locked up with a Dragoon. I imagine Mike wants to kill him. Do you want to kill him?
Yes, please.
Yes, so he wants to kill him and I want a point, so he's going in there. Supported by the Vanguard, which had moved up. There's only a few. This foliage is extremely thick. There's only a few standing up on this rocks here that can actually see down and influence this, but they should take a bit of a beating. Along with the Peltas up here are going to join in as well. There's only a couple of them in range. I have moved them forward and down. There's only a couple in range that can throw some shots down on that unit. Along with these Dune Crawlers here, which are going to snap fire at them because they only have Skyfire weaponry. That's a nice firing avenue all the way down there. Then the Knight moving forward. Thought about bringing them up and over and trying the charge, but it's such a long bomb charge. I think I'm going to just put round after round after round into them for a few turns. Along with the Iron Striders up here. And the Ruststalkers, look, have made it all the way round and sat on this objective, which is a Scatterfield objective. It's quite nice. Sneaky movement going on there. All right, that's the plan. So let's praise the Omnissiah and pull the trigger. Here we are partway into the shooting phase. Firepower from the Iron Strider here, the Iron Strider there, and these Dune Crawlers smashing into these Terminators. Shots going wild, right and left, and only 2 Terminators have fallen. And now these Peltasts, I'm all in range now, 30-inch range with the solid shots down into those Terminators there. So we're going to roll this on camera, see what they are able to do. Hitting on 3s because no doctrine or imperatives are in effect, but I've got preferred enemy right now because of my Warlord. So I'm going to be re-rolling those 1s. That's nice. So that's 14 out of 15 hits. Strength 4, AP 3, rending. So 4s to wound, 6s would be nice. So 2 rends there, and 3 normal save. Let's do the 2 rends, 5 up and Vun. 2 dead. 2 dead, and then 3 2-ups.
3 2-ups.
So the kinetic rounds, taking out 2 of them there. The Vanguard shot at them as well. Only 4 could see through all this dense foliage and could not dent the Terminator armor. So that's it for my shooting, except for the Imperial Knight. Let's see if he can do a number on those remaining Terminators. Firing the Cognis Stubber. I'm hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s. 1 wound, 1 2-up save, and another Terminator dies just to a Cognis Stubber. And then we've got 12 Avenger Gatling Cannon rounds. 12 shots hitting on 3s. And these are Strength 6 AP3. So 2s to wound, 6s rend. No rends at all, but that many saves, please, Michael.
Okay.
2-up save on these.
2 at a time.
Why 2 at a time?
Because I've got some side cannons in there.
Oh,
I want to
okay.
make sure that I make them all.
And they walk through fire. And that's the end of the shooting phase. The Rustalk is running on to that Scatterfield objective there. 3 of these Terminators dying, but they passed the leadership test. 2 of these Terminators dying. And now I'm going to charge. So there's going to be some Overwatch with some side cannons. They're the only things that can hurt it. And 6s to hit with a side cannon. He's got 3 hits there. This is Strength 7. Armor 11. So on Overwatch, that's 2 pens and a glance. The 2 pens have a 5-up cover save due to the incense, and I make 1 of them, and 1 5-up for the glance. And he dies, making his way in there, but that's fine. Survival is nothing. Data is all. He gets wiped out, but that does give me a point. I just don't get to smack them with my taser goad beforehand. We rolled for the penetration result. It was an explosion, so it has been removed, but it doesn't hurt anything when it goes boom, and that's the end of the Skitarii turn. Don't score objective 6, but I do get 1 more point, so it's 3 points to 1 for the Skitarii, and I'm pushing quite deep up the board. The Terminators are taking a pounding. They need some reserves. Will they come on in this turn? Let's find out in Grey Knight turn 2. The Grey Knight orders in turn 2 to secure objective 3, which is deep in my lines, and harness the warp. And if he gets 3 psychic powers off, that's D3 extra points. Only the Storm Raven is coming in from reserve this turn as well. Here we are at the end of the Grey Knight movement phase. The Storm Raven flying the full 36 inches and took a glancing hit. Didn't jink from the intercepting auto cannons that smashed into it from these sky firing dune crawlers here. And he's looking at taking them out. That also puts him in a very good position right in the middle of my lines, because don't forget there's 5 Terminators in there that can jump out and start doing some serious damage next turn. Then as for psychic powers, invisibility passed. This unit had been terrified, and then he tried to psychic shriek them, got 1 pass, and I denied it. So he'll only get 1 point for harness the warp this turn, not the full D3. And I forgot about the interceptors that were back there. And they've jumped all the way over here. There'll be a nice dirty flame template, strength 6 AP4 going on my guys. I won't get any armor save, I won't get any cover save, I won't get my 6-up feel no pain. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. The central Terminators over here that took a pounding have pulled back and around towards objective 5. He thought about coming up and taking on the Knight, but he's made sure with line of sight he's still got line of sight on the front of the Knight. Shields at the front this time, so he can put side cannon rounds in on them, but he doesn't want to engage it in close combat. Pulling back, being cautious there. So Grey Knight should have a strong foothold in the crags over here at the end of this turn. And that's about it. Let's go on to the shooting phase and see what damage they can do. At the end of the Grey Knight shooting phase, these Terminators here managed to take a hull point off the Imperial Knight, and this Storm Raven here has blown off the Cognis Stubber from this Dune Crawler and stunned it. But that's all that's happened here. A lot of rocket fire going wild. Then round this side of the table, these guys got flamed to crap and Stormbolter to fire. 8 of them died. They failed morale. They're running back. And then shots from the main invisible Terminator squad washing in on my Warlord's Peltast unit. I think I lost 7 or 8 of them there. I would have lost more, but I'm out of range to kill as many as possible. So now the guns of the Terminator squad over there are getting in range. They're doing some significant damage. Very few of these guys left. Not much left when it comes to Skitarii units on this side of the table here. and a Stormraven deep, deep into my lines. But that's 1 point for the Greyknights at the end of turn 2. So it's 3 points to the Admech, 2 points to the Greyknights, and we're going on to turn 3. Here are the Skitarii orders. I ditched secure objective 6 last turn, and with rumours of revelation, I really need to score objective 6. That isn't going to happen. I'm going to ignore that one, but behind enemy lines as possible with the Ruststalkers, and secure objective 2 I'm already holding. Here we are after the movement phase, and there's objective 6 for rumours of revelation, which I won't be able to get, but there's objective 2. The knight didn't get a good move through cover, and it looks like he's going to stay there. If he got a better move through cover, then I'd have put the dragoons further around there so they could hold it and they could score it, and then he could go flying in. But because he didn't move very far, he's going to have to stay there and hold on to objective 2. And the Ruststalkers over the back edge are scoring behind enemy lines for me. And then I was worried about the contents of this Stormraven and the Terminators that come spilling out of it. So a little bit of a crapshoot down the back here, defensive ring around my sky firing stuff. Remember, he's stunned. And the Warlords unit, because they're invisible, if I'd have got down and fired into them, yeah, that wouldn't have gone very well. So they are strategically retreating away.
I told you I had a plan from the beginning.
Yes, the plan seems to be working. So they are coming down and away from the Terminators. They're waiting to see what comes out of this thing and whether they can influence the game anymore. And then the rest of the stuff. See, these haven't got very good line of fire from here either. There's not much they can see. The neutron lasers on the Dune Crawlers, there's not much they can see. When I look across the battlefield at the end of this turn, because there's only a couple of units on the table, let's face it, only a couple of Terminators, and then this thing and the Interceptors way over the back edge. There's not a lot that I will actually be able to see and hit. This unit continuing to fall back away from these guys that burned their friends to death. So perhaps only 10 or 20% of my army can draw line of sight or range on anything this turn. Anyway, let's see what I can do in the shooting phase. Here we are at the end of a very short shooting phase, and the Stormraven is still in the air, dodging right, dodging left as firepower comes up at him from the Iron Striders and from these. One of them snap firing up at him. He didn't jink and has lost one more hull point. It was the Gatling rocket launcher that ignores cover, so he didn't bother jinking. Still one hull point to go, so very lucky there. And then rounds from this thing and the knight coming in at the Terminators back there, killing 2 more of them. The Greyknights orders are a mixed bag. They've been told to hold the line. They need 3 units back in their deployment zone, something they don't want to do. They also need to score objective 3, which is deep in my deployment zone, and Kingslayer. Take out the Skitarii Warlord for D3 extra points. It's the end of the Grey Knight movement phase, and they are here in style. Teleport homers fizzing and coordinates bang on the mark. This Dread Knight coming in here, and with his Torrent Flamer, he's in range of this unit here, which my Warlord is in, and they've been terrified as well. Talking about psychic stuff, they're invisible one more time. And joining him to the party are the last unit of Terminators, which have deep struck again. Another hit rolled, and they're right in here. All of a sudden, the Grey Knights control this side of the table. Lots and lots of significant forces down here. The Interceptor's turning around just to finish off this unit before they start jumping around and considering line breaker and being effective in turn 5 and turn 6. Sanctuary was also cast on the Dread Knight and successful, and then the Stormraven passed its terrain test, has dropped down here into VTOL mode. These guys are out and they have Hammer Hand on. It looks like he wants to damage the Dragoons and try and charge my Warlord's unit and go for objective 3 and Kingslayer and Warlord kill. And then if that is successful, if you manage to pull off that plan, the Grey Knights will roll into the lead. Meanwhile, I'm stuck down this side of the table. The unit back here that have been taken round after round after round, holding the lines until their brothers have joined the fight, have come around this side of Objective 5. They've got shots through the foliage there onto the Rust Stalkers. The only thing that might keep my Rust Stalkers alive is, fortunately, this is a Scatterfield objective, so that's going to be +1 cover save for them. But really, it's all about this fight over here, whether the Greyknights can put enough firepower in to smash through the Skitarii lines and control the centre of their deployment zone. If they don't do it this turn, they're going to have to weather a storm of fire, because last turn I couldn't see very much. Last turn the sight angles and line of sight was very bad for the Skitarii, but now they're completely in my grill. I'm going to be able to hurt them if they don't pull this off. So let's go on to the Grey Knight phase, see what they can do. Alright, it's a critical turn, so let's film this. 4 Stormbolter shots coming in. 6 Stormbolter shots coming in the Rust Stalkers, hitting on 3s and wounding on 3s. That's 3 wounds. They have a 4-up save and feel no pain. So one of them takes a wound because they've got 2 wounds each. There's still 2 Psy Cannons left in that unit. Now they're firing, hitting on 3s. Oh dear.
Dear, oh dear.
But these wound on 2s. 1 on the floor. So that's 3 wounds. These will double out because this is strength 7. I'm only toughness 3 with 2 wounds. The Scatterfield needs to save me here. So I've got 3 4-ups to make. So he just dies. Should have fired the Psy Cannons first, maybe.
Yeah.
Then the intercepts here made short work of those Skitarii. These guys here, he wants to break this cordon. There's 1 Psy Cannon in this squad, so this Psy Cannon is firing at that Dragoon. Hitting on 3s.
1 miss.
Miss, and this is strength 7 versus armor 11. Only 1 glance. Can I have a dice, please? Thank you, sir. And I don't make the save, so he drops a hull point. As this unit was unsuccessful, there's 2 Psy Cannons in that invisible squad coming into this Dragoon squadron here. 8 shots, hitting on 3s. And that's 6 hits. Strength 7 versus armor 11, so he's looking for 4s here. And what's that? 1 glance, 2 pence. Right, so these guys always count as obscured. They have a 5-up save. I think they're getting a 5-up save anyway. So 1 glance is on a 5-up. The first Dune Crawler is dead, and now the 2 pens, the Dune Crawlers, they're gone. Do they explode? Let's find out. And this is all that remains of the Dragoons after those Psy Cannons have had their way. They're gone. Stormraven at the Onagers. There's 2 missiles left, hitting on 3s. 1 hit.
Strength 8.
That's a glance. It has a 5-up invulnerable save at the moment due to shield harmonics. No, so that's a glance and hit off of this one, because this one's now closest.
Then Melter.
Yep.
Twin linked.
Twin link Melter shot.
3.
1 hit. You're in Melter range, so 2d6 is a pen. Again, a 5-up invuln, which I don't make. This is AP1. So 3 plus 2 is 5. That's a weapon destroyed result. We'll go for the cog. Okay, now Twin Link Laz hits.
Ooh.
Missed the table and nothing. So this one down to 1 hull point. This one down to 1 hull point. It was the rocket launcher that's been ripped off of here. Both of them steaming. This is going to sting. This guy's got an incinerator. I think he covers 6, including the Warlord. And it's strength 6. It'll double out my feel no pain, and this is going to sting. The Flamer hit that thing, didn't wound it, and now we've got 6 wounds on the Peltas, my Warlord's unit. These wound on 2s. Ow. Okay, so over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. My Warlord is next. I need 2 lookout sirs on a... He's not an independent character, so he takes them both. He has got a refractor field, which is a 5-up invulnerable save. He's dead and 1 more, so that's slay the Warlord. That stung. Right now, the only thing left to shoot is this unit of Terminators that came out of there. He was going to charge into my Warlord's unit, but successfully just incinerated, flamed a bunch of them to death. He could charge them. could charge them, but instead he wants to take objective 3. Go for the order. Go for the point.
We
He
need
needs
3 up, guys, for a run.
3 up.
Let's make this happen. 5.
That's a 5. That's a 5. You're in there. Let's do a quick leadership test on these two. Leadership 8. And they've had enough after they saw all their friends barbecue in front of them. A fullback 9 inches off the table. The end of turn 3 for the Greyknights, and that was pretty impressive. Only managed to kill 1 Rust Auger here. I've still got my Dune Crawlers, still got these guys, still got the Infiltrators, still got them. And then I start running out of guys. The Peltas completely wiped out. Terminators now scoring objective 3. Invisible Terminators over there. Some Terminators in the backfield still controlling objective 5. There's a Dreadknight in front of my lines with Sanctuary on. He's going to have a very bad time because there's a Dreadknight in front of him and some Terminators behind him. Interceptors back here. The Greyknights control this side of the battle grid. They get a point for scoring objective 3. They get a point for Slay the Warlord, which means it's 5 points to the Adeptus Mechanicus, 4 points to the Greyknights, and they get D3 extra points for Kingslayer. Ouch. So the Greyknights have pushed into the lead. They have 6 points. The Penitent Forge of the Adeptus Mechanicus have 5 points. And now we go into turn 4. The orders for the Penitent Forge are tough. I got rid of that Rumours of Revelation. I got Recon, that's a free point, that's nice. But I've got to get objective 3 back off of him, back off those objective secured Terminators. Tough call. And Big Game Hunter means I need to kill that Dreadknight as well. Both of these are a tough call. Talking about tough calls, kill his king, his invisible librarian in that Terminator blob. That's a really tough call. So Greyknights are in the lead here. I've got some tough orders to make my way through. Let's see what happens. So in the movement phase, the Rustalkers have pulled back round here, and here's objective 3, which I need to take, and there's Kingslayer. So the plan is push as much firepower into this Terminator unit. The Dune Crawlers can also see through the gap there, under the wings of the Storm Raven, and try and take it out. These guys with the remaining guns will try and get the last hull point off the Storm Raven. These guys can join in as well. But I also need Big Game Hunter, which means kill that Dreadknight, which has got Sanctuary on it, 4 up and Vun. So the Knight can either come charging into these if he needs to, or charging into that. He's dead anyway. He needs to put some rounds down while he's here. Basically, I need to try and remove these 2 units, which will leave the Greyknights, this unit, that unit. The Interceptors back here, they'll have firm control of this side of the table, but I need to remove these 2 units. If I don't, then they're going to start snowballing me and taking firm control of this battle grid. So this is a critical turn for the Skitarii, for the Penitent Forge. Let's move on to the shooting phase. So the Onagers firing up at that. They intercepted last turn, so the autocannons cannot fire. I've got the Daedalus launcher alive on this one and that one. This one's lost the rocket. So, hitting on 3s with Skyfire, and these ignore cover. I just need 1/6 to wipe it out. And that's a dead Storm Raven. And this is where order of operations, order of fire is very important, because now block line of sight from my Dune Crawlers. The only things they can now see is this one up here. So I'm going to fire the blasts, hopefully hit some more with the neutron laser. So I can see this chap here, and putting the blast marker on him, I actually hit 3. So I need to hit as many as I can. And that one scatters an inch. Let's work it out. That hit 2 Terminators, and the next shot is scattering 3 inches this way. Let's work that one out. That scattered back and hit these 3 guys down here. So that actually is 5 hits in total. Wounded on 2s. Strength 10, AP 1. That's 5 wounds with 5 up.
2, 3, 4. Come on. No, they're all dead.
They're all dead. Everybody's dead.
They're all dead, Tex.
That worked. Hurrah. Strider failed to hurt the Dreadknight. The Stubber from here failed to hurt the Dreadknight. And now I've got 12. Strength 6, AP 3, rending shots from the Avenger Gatling Cannon. Hitting on 3s. And that's 4 misses. And this is Strength 6, toughness 6, so I'm looking at 4s to wound, but 6s are AP2 because of the rending rule. Look at that. 1 armor save, and 4 up in Vuns because you've got Sanctuary.
What armor?
Armor. Ooh, 4 up in Vuns.
He's got 1 wound left.
1 wound left. Right, will these 2 Iron Striders be able to take him out? I need that Monster Hunter. These guys are hitting on 3s. Twin linked. I must remember to do my Doctrinate Imperatives at some point. Keep forgetting. All 4 hit. Strength 7 versus toughness 6. I need 3s. 3 wounds. 3 2-ups. Just roll 1-1. No, he's still alive. And that, my friends, is the end of the shooting phase. The infiltrators running backwards away because I'm worried about the Torrent Flamer that will come in from the Dread Knight, still within 3 inches of objective 3. We're going on to the assault phase, and I guess he's going to charge. So let's charge. He has moved through cover. He's definitely in there. I'm not sure if the Torrent Flamer can hurt it. Strength 6, front armor 30, you can't hurt it. So I am in. Imperial Knight on Dread Knight. I don't have an invulnerable save in close combat. He's got 1 wound left and a 4 up invulnerable save. Got 1 Hammer of Wrath coming in first, which wounds on a 2. Which wounds, you get a full armor save against that.
I do.
Which you make. And then I'll swing first with my Mighty D. Weapon skill 4 versus weapon skill
5.
So I'm hitting on 4s.
Oh dear.
No! Okay, so that went horribly wrong. Now the Dread Knight's going to swing. He's got 3 attacks plus 1 because he's got a hammer and a fist hitting on 3s. Ouch. And strength 10. Your strength 10. So it's a glance, and a pen. What does the pen do?
Ooh, cock.
It's a bit of a cock. So that's just 3 hull points off the Dread Knight. Right, the Imperial Knight's on 2 hull points left. The Dread Knight on 1 hull point. I have got some stomps. You can stomp monstrous creatures. And I get 2 stomps, which I both put 2 blasts over the Dread Knight. And let's see what the stomps do. If I roll a 6, it's a remove from play.
Oh, wow.
He's been stomped. He's been crushed under the mighty Imperial Knight. How do you feel about that?
Speechless.
Speechless. And the Penitent Forge breathe a sigh of relief. I've managed to pull it back in my favour. I get Recon, I secure Objective 3, and I get Big Game Hunter. So with the Terminators, the Grey Knights racing down towards my lines with the Imperial Knight standing resolute. We move on to Grey Knight, turn 4. Here are the Grey Knight orders. They've decided to ignore, hold the line, and they've got to take the centre of the field. Secure Objective 2 is right in the middle of the table. It's a long way to go. There's going to have to move full distance and run to get that. Maybe not this turn, but it'll be certainly worth a lot of points next turn. Blood and Guts kill something in the assault phase, should be relatively easy. And behind enemy lines, he's already scoring that. These 2 points will make it 8 points to 8. Getting Objective 2 or not is going to be a tricky ask. Here we are at the end of the movement and psychic phase. For Grey Knights, this unit are invisible again, but Hammerhand failed. It looks like they wanted to go charging in on the Imperial Knight, but I wouldn't. Even though you're invisible, you can get stomped when you are invisible, so I probably wouldn't. Still a couple of side cannons in there that can shoot up at him. And these guys, there's 2 side cannons there, and if we have a look at the side armour, shields at the front, we're in a crossfire of side cannon fire there, so the Imperial Knight may not be able to withstand firepower of that magnitude. Objective 2, too far away for any units to get to this turn. But the Interceptors jumped over from there, no doubt they're going to run, and next turn should be able to score Objective 2 twice. And then as for Blood and Guts and behind enemy lines, well, this unit managed to get Hammerhand off, but they perils and one of them died. They can charge in, try and destroy this thing. Strength 6 versus armor 11. And they'll get Blood and Guts, and they should also score behind enemy lines as well. So some very tactical manoeuvring going on here. Grey Knights trying to get as many points as they can. The noose closing in on the Admech forces. And this big bad boy will probably not be there at the end of this turn. Let's find out. I declared my shields on the front, and this unit here, firing 2 side cannons into the side armor. The Imperial Knight hitting on 3s. And that's not so good. Strength 7, side armor 12. 2 hits. That's 1 more hull point. That's a pen. It's rending, but rending versus... It's just down 1 more hull point. It's on 1 hull point left. Rapid fire plasma from the Warlord into the front, hitting on 2s. And it gets hot. 1 gets hot. And he takes a wound. And then strength 7, front armor 13. That doesn't do anything, but the Librarian injures himself. That's very interesting.
He's desperate.
Desperate times. Desperate times.
And in the side cannons.
Okay, hitting on 3s. Hopefully get more than 2 hits this time.
Oh God.
Not much better. 4 hits. You need 6s. Nothing. He's alive.
Absolutely nothing.
This unit shot at the Iron Strider, causing 1 hull point as well. Dangerous times. If he had killed it, then he might not have been able to assault and kill it in the assault phase. But that's the end of the shooting phase. It looks like we have got this charge coming up. Super heavy vehicles cannot overwatch. These guys just running 1 inch. Let's see what charge range you've got. You've got a 6-inch charge. Will the hammers get in? Where are the hammers? With consolidate, yeah, you'll get in. You'll get in. Let's measure it up and find out. But yeah, no hammer hand, right?
Nope.
No hammer hand. Strength 8 hammers going against. Interesting. We shall see. Okay, these guys charged into the Iron Strider and wiped it out. It blew up, but Terminator armor holding firm again. With hammer hand, they made short work of that. And these guys have all managed to get into combat. Now, only the hammers here can hurt that thing because they don't have hammer hand. So the Imperial Knight will get to strike first with 3 attacks, and he hits on 4s.
Invisibility.
And he misses completely because of invisibility. So you've got 2 hammers in that squad, so that's 6 attacks.
Oh yeah.
Hitting on 4s.
4s.
I'm going to stomp you if you miss. 3 hits. Strength 8, front armor 13. You need 1 5, or I'm going to stomp you to death.
No, you're not, Jamie. The Emperor's key. Oh dear.
The knight falls. With the last hull point removed from the Imperial Knight, it collapses and goes cataclysmic. There should be another ring here. We've got strength D, strength 8, strength 4, and I just clip 3 Terminators. Do 2 wounds. You get 2 up saves on this, and pass them. The Emperor protects.
Emperor.
And that's it for the Greyknights. Turn 4. It's 8 points to 8 because they killed something in the assault phase and got behind enemy lines. Terminators moving into for the kill here. Let's not forget it's going to be an easy 2 points for the Greyknights next turn. And while it's 8 points to 8, it can easily be 10 points to 8 for them. And in turn 5, the game might end and the knight no longer anchors the centre of the board for me. I could be in a lot of trouble here. Just got a couple of Dune Crawlers, some Ruststalkers, some Infiltrators, and these Iron Striders left. I've been entirely pushed back down into the lowlands. The Greyknights control the crags at the top end of the table. But this battle is hanging on a knife edge. Let's see what orders come out in turn 5. Right, my dead pile is beginning to look a little bit scary, and here are the orders. They're pretty scary as well. Secure Objective 3, which I control with the Infiltrators. Objective 4, yep, I don't have that anymore. And hold the line. I need 3 units in my deployment zone and none of the Greyknights. And remember, there is a unit in my deployment zone taking that from me. Quest for Lost Knowledge. I need to discover a mysterious objective. Can't get that because they've all been discovered. And Kingslayer. Kill his invisible librarian on 1 wound left. Unlikely to get that. So it's going to be tough. I've finally remembered Doctrinate Imperatives going up +3 ballistic skill, -2 weapon skill. Let's see if I can get a couple of points here. Here we are at the end of the movement phase. The Dune Crawlers are controlling Objective 3, but Objective 4 is under here, so I'm not going to be able to get it. And these guys are stopping me from getting hold the line. I need 3 units in my deployment zone and not this unit. So there's 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units within 12 inches of my board edge. And he just fell over. Stay, Chicken Walker, stay. So I've lined these guys up so they've got some shots down at the Terminators there. And the Dune Crawlers are climbing up their squadron, 4 inches coherency, climbing up over the wreckage of the Storm Raven. The neutron lasers last time did some serious damage. If I can repeat that and kill that Terminator squad, that's another point for Hold the Line. But Kingslayer and the quest for lost knowledge is certainly not going to happen. Basically, I've got the opportunity to just get 2 points here. So I've ran the Ruststalkers up over here, getting Line Breaker in case the game ends. And then I've got to hope that the orders that come through for the Greyknights are not good. And they only get a couple of points as well. Or I've got to hope that it goes on to turn 6 and I get a good hand. So let's move on to the shooting phase. So it's all or nothing time. In the shooting phase, a nice blast, because he assaulted and you don't consolidate from assaults with walkers. The blast will hit them all. And I'm ballistic skill 7 right now. So the first shot hits and the second shot, come on, for the Messiah. No, goes 4 inches that way and will entirely miss the squad. 4 hits at strength 10 AP 1. 3 wounds, 3-5 up in rumbles or 3-5 up covers.
Ooh, only 1 dies. You see that?
Damn it, that could have gone better. So onto the Cognis Stubbers. 12 Cognis Stubbers there, and these hit on 2s, re-rolling hitting on 5s. So all of them hit, and it's strength 4 versus toughness 4. So I need 4s to wound. That's quite a lot of wounds. We're looking at 6 wounds, Michael. 6 wounds. Any ones of... Yeah,
No,
come
not
on.
today. Not today.
Not
I like
today.
these black dice. I think I should use these from now on.
I think you may have mentioned that before. So the 2 Iron Striders need to do it. Can see 2 of them. 3 left. Hitting on 2s. And wounding on 2s. 4 more wounds. 4 more Terminator saves, please.
No problem. Oh,
1 dies. And then in the remainder of the shooting phase, these things snap firing at ground targets, manage to kill off one of the interceptors, and that's it. So we have a leadership test at leadership 9.
I don't want to roll high anymore.
Roll high now, please.
No. 1 and the 2's fine, guys. Oh, yeah.
And they hold morale for the Emperor. That's the end of my shooting phase. That's the end of my turn. I only get 1 point for objective 3, despite all that firepower. So it's 9 points to the Adeptus Mechanicus and 8 points to the Greyknights. We're going on to Greyknights turn 5. The Greyknight orders from High Command are good. Recon is a free point at this stage. Secure objective 2 for 2 points. Kill a character, there's still a couple left. And Ascendancy, score any 3 objectives for D3 extra points. They have an opportunity to roar into the lead here. Here we are at the end of the movement and psychic phase for the Greyknights, and invisibility failed. Interesting times. This unit moving forward from over there to get objective 2 twice. I think it's a 1 or 2 inch run.
Yeah, it's a 1 inch
and
run.
they're 1 inch runs.
Waste the shots.
Yeah, so they've got it automatically. The interceptors have jumped back because you need to
run just to pave up against the wall here.
Okay, yeah.
Line of sight.
Yes, okay, yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to run them as well while I'm narrating?
Yes, please.
You need a 1.
I need a 6.
You got a 6. Okay, so they're scoring this objective. They've jumped back to score this objective. And these 2 guys that withstood the firepower of the neutron lasers last turn are scoring objective 4. So that's going to be D3 extra points plus objective 2 twice. And plus recon. And then, as I mentioned, this squad is not invisible. Hammerhand passed here, Hammerhand passed there, just in case, I think. It's the bottom of turn 5. It's 13 points to the Greyknights and 9 points to the Penitent Forge, and this is the way the world ends. The Greyknights comfortably secure objective 2 twice. They've got Ascendancy, they got 4 more points. And then side cannon rounds coming in from this unit and this unit have taken out one of the Dune Crawlers here. And that was pretty much it for the firepower. The rest of the units, as we saw, just running, taking up position here or there. And then the orders came over the Noosphere. The orders came from the Vox channels to fall back, to regroup, rearm, and the Penitent Forge turned and fled from this battle grid, giving it up to the Greyknights. In the first couple of turns, it looked like the Penitent Forge were definitely in control. The Greyknights were stuck over in this corner here, and they were taking damage and they weren't able to bring most of their weapons to bear, and then the Storm Raven came in, and then the remainder of the Grey Knight forces came in with a 1-2 punch, and they came in right at the same time when most of the Grey Knights also managed to bring the side cannons and the rest of their firepower in, and it was devastating. As we look across, the Peltas are gone. Both units of the Skitarii Vanguard that were up here have just been mulched through. The Iron Striders, the Dragoons, they're all gone. Once Grey Knights get in range with their firepower, they are devastating, brutal. It's just about weathering those first 2 turns against them. And that's why the Nemesis strike formation, which you can bring for the Grey Knights, can also be a very devastating trick. That's when they roll 4 reserves, put everything in reserve, and start rolling 4 reserves on turn 1. So 2/3 of their army should appear on the table in turn 1. Then they've got to weather an amount of firepower. Then in turn 2 they get some assaults on, and sometimes steamroller over their opponents. If the Nemesis strike force works, it works a treat. If it doesn't work, it can be very painful for the Grey Knight player, can't it, Mike?
It can indeed. It was actually nice today to run with just a normal combined arms attachment today, so everything was troop scoring. They just piled the road really with the sight cannons.
There you go. Mike thinks that Imperial Knights are a very good supplement for Grey Knights as well. He's got one which he's going to be adding to his army. It brings in that level of long-range firepower which the Grey Knight forces can lack. That's why you often see a Vindicare Assassin with some...
Yeah, sometimes I've got 2 I'm blocking in the field, but it's all about long-range firepower that Grey Knights really severely lack, so the Knights are a really great supplement for it.
So you're looking forward to building your Knight?
Yeah, and some help.
I'll be looking forward to taking him down. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Happy wargaming.